Hi, my name's Stacey and I'm 19 now. I fell pregnant at 17. My daughter is Lexi and she is 17 months. And we live in the southeast of Cornwall, which is near Plymouth. I first found out I was pregnant when I was about 6 to 8 weeks gone, and we only thought that we were was because I was getting travel sick going to and from college, which is like quite embarrassing, getting sick on the bus. I did a pregnancy test when I was with my boyfriend, and it came out, and I thought it was negative, being the dumbass that I am. And he looked at it and he said, "Stace, you're pregnant." I said, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Stace, look at it, you're pregnant." And I just looked at it, looked at him, and I just started crying in his arms. And he was like, "Oh, Stace, it's okay." A few hours later, we phoned our parents. My mum was upset. I said, "Mum, don't get angry or anything, don't shout at me, but I'm pregnant." And she was like, "Oh, Stacey." She just started crying, and I don't know what his mum said. I didn't really ask. I was too shocked in the news. We both then went back to my mum's house, and I cooked us spaghetti bolognese, and I was all chirpy then. I was coming round to the idea, and my boyfriend was just sat there, and I was like, "Why are you so down? You know, it's not bad news, is it?" And he found it hard to speak, and I think it was just on his mind, the reality of it. Anyway, we went to the midwife, and when we did see the midwife, I think I was about 10 weeks gone, and she was quite abrupt to me. I don't understand why. She was quite sharp with me, but she loved my boyfriend. We had our first scan at 13 weeks, which was the most amazing thing ever. We just saw this little, I don't know, it just looked like a little raccoon or something, just swimming around as fast as it could. And then as soon as I put my legs and my arms behind my head, she did exactly the same thing. It's so amazing, most amazing thing ever. So I got travel sick until I was 23 weeks gone. Throughout the whole pregnancy, we had ups and downs with the baby's dad, and my family and his family not so good. So during the end of the pregnancy, I got a house with the housing association, which was amazed that didn't take long at all. Most amazing house ever. Couldn't ask for more. The midwife admitted me into hospital 5 days before I was due because I had preeclampsia. And in the hospital, I just started crying, thinking I've got to stay here on my own. Don't know what's going to happen. But at least I knew I was in a safe place, and if anything happened. They decided to induce me 2 days before I was due, because my blood pressure got so high, it went up to 109, I think. So they got a doctor and said they'll induce me. It was so painful. I hated it. But the first induction, it didn't work. So the day after that, they did another induction, and I had a show. I just sat in the bed, and I felt loads of water and stuff come out of me, and I thought it was my waters. So I said to the midwife, "I think my waters are broken." So she had a look, and she said, "Oh, it's only a show, there's nothing to worry about, just clean yourself up." I was getting a few niggling contractions after that, not bad at all. So I texted my boyfriend at the time, asked him to come up. So he came up with his mum and his stepdad, and my mum and my sister and my dad were there as well, and nothing happened. They gave me false hope that I was going to go down to the labour ward, but it didn't happen because it was too busy. The day after that, they decided to take me to the labour ward. This was at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they had to break my waters and put me on a hormone drip. So I was just sat there with my mum and my sister as my boyfriend was at university having his exam, because of course it was in May and they have their exams then. The midwife asked me if I wanted any diamorphine, and I said no. And as soon as I got a contraction, I was like, yes. So she said, turn on your side. So I turned on my side, and she just stuck a needle in my bum. I've never jumped so fast in my life. So embarrassing. After that, my mum and sister went to get a sandwich because nothing was happening, and the midwife just left me. Half hour to 40 minutes later, I got two new midwives come in, and I was in so much pain. It was unbelievable. Left on my own, having the most awful contractions ever. And they walked in and said, "Oh, we're your new midwives." And I was like, "Oh, I need some pain relief." So I got gas and air and another. Well, I don't know if I had another diamorphine actually. I was a bit overwhelmed, and my daughter's dad ended up coming in. He missed his law exam to come and see the birth, but he came halfway through the worst parts, which I wanted him to see so he could realise how bad it is and that he might have a bit more respect for me. I had an epidural as well, which went quite well, but I had to wait quite a long time to get it because the woman was in theatre. Anyway, after all that, I was pushing and pushing and pushing for ages, so they was about to go and get a doctor to see if I needed a cesarean, but thankfully I didn't. And my daughter's dad was stood at the other end watching her head come out, saying, "Oh, Stace, just one more push, I can see her head." And he saw the whole thing, and he saw her coming out, and she's amazing, the most weird thing ever. She looked like a little alien, but I held her and I went, and then I went, ah, and then I passed her on to Dave, and then I passed her on to my mum, and they weighed her and she was 7 pounds 3, and she went to sleep after that. After they cleaned me up and everything, I had to go back up to the ward, and I had to stay there for another 5 days. Oh my god. So I was in there for 10 days altogether, and the whole night she didn't wake up, and I had the midwife come up. She said, "Oh, has she been fed yet?" I was like, "No." And so I fed her, and I breastfed her. I breastfed her for 10.5 months, which I was quite proud of, because the stereotyping that we get, we don't breastfeed and all this and that. But every 4 hours I had to be checked on, and the next day after having my daughter, I got up and just a pile of blood just went onto the floor. It's awful. And they walked me to the bathroom and I nearly collapsed, so they had to get a wheelchair and bring me back in. It was awful. But every time I look at her, just feelings of, overwhelmed, and time goes too fast. You don't appreciate it enough. She's 17 months now. She's at nursery. I'm at college. Go to university next year. So, just people say, that you've ruined your life, and I think it's made my life so much better. Living on my own now with Lexi and my dog that I've had for 3 years. Just doing so well for ourselves. And she's just a little bundle of joy, so cheeky. And she gives kisses. The most amazing thing ever. I don't know how anyone could judge teenage moms, because we try our best, and half the time we do better than normal mums. We've got the motivation and we can understand our child better. So yeah.